Hello, welcome to part 3 of this video series in week 1 of BCM241 Media Ethnographies. So this is going to be a short video about the blogging task that is due at the end of week 1. You're going to be blogging in weeks 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the blogs are for this subject and this 4 weeks are really designed to help you establish the foundation for your major ethnographic research project and the digital artifacts that you're going to be submitting at the end of the session. The post is due at the end of each week, so we will be looking at the submission dates. But what you will do in week 5 is you will download the assessment cover sheet and you will put the URL, the link to each post in that cover sheet and submit that to the Moodle Dropbox, and that will be assessed after week 5. More on that as we get closer to the time. Let's focus on what the topic for this week is. So, the topic is, what is your media niche? Now, this can be something that you already have an expertise in, or it could be something that you have thought about in the past as being interesting or relevant to your career in some way, but you haven't yet dived into, or maybe you only have a peripheral knowledge of, but you want to explore further. So this is your opportunity to explain what your interest is, your degree of your expertise, and start to think about how you might explore this in detail. So in writing your blog post, I want you to start out by explaining your personal interest and the degree to which you have an expertise. Is this a lifelong passion and interest that you want to really communicate to an audience that has never encountered it before? Is this a really kind of subcultural interest that no one's ever heard of, or is it a really popular brand that you just think is worth exploring further? It's up to you. There are very few rules and restrictions here. You're going to have to negotiate with your tutor as we go through. You're going to be pitching your ideas and getting feedback. So you're going to be refining as you go. But in this first blog post, be as broad and general, and it's okay to be vague in week 1. That's totally fine, right? This is just starting to lay the foundations of your thoughts and your interests. So this is from the subject outline. Do you watch beauty drama YouTubers? This is something that I have been exploring recently to do with an honors student who's looking at cancel culture. Are you a K-pop stan? I'm interested in this because I'm also taking BCM241 Digital Asia this session and rapidly catching up on the K-pop industry as it is in 2020. Do you have a favorite sports podcast? Do you know everything about Norwegian crime drama? That's a nod to Professor Susan Turnbull, who ran this subject last year. She's an expert on crime drama. Do you have strong opinions about the difference between Roddenberry era and Kurtzman era Star Trek? That's a nod to Chris C. And our difference of opinion on Star Trek. So like this is, you can totally nerd out. This is the place and the appropriate time to do that. So don't be afraid to use lists. Don't be afraid to use dot points. Blog posts are a minimum of 500 words. Now, I often get asked, what's the maximum? And my answer to that is always be kind to your audience. So remember that your tutors are going to be reading your blog posts. And so they're looking for the quality of your ideas, not the length of the post. So if it's 1,000 words, that's probably too long. Because you're not being conservative and concise in conveying the mapping of your interest or the landscape of your interest. So this is more general and more personal in this instance. We'll get more specifically into actually defining what your field site is going to be next week. So don't go too crazy. You might even want to look ahead in the blog posts to see what the other topics of the other 3 posts are going to be, so you don't double up. Remember that you can record your blog posts as audio casts or videos like this one, and just upload it to SoundCloud or YouTube and embed it in a blog post. That's totally cool. We're not going to be assessing the aesthetics of your audio video, so just straight to a phone is fine. But we are going to be assessing the effectiveness of your communication. So you need to be clear. You might want to support your video with notes version of the text. Any audio video should basically be about 2 minutes. 2 minutes minimum, and an absolute hard maximum of 4 minutes. Again, be kind to your tutors. Effective, clear communication is what we're after. When it comes to blogging at 200 level in the BCM, in my subjects at least, I do expect referencing, but linking is fine. So I'm really more interested in ensuring that you provide the correct attribution to your sources. So if you mention a podcast's website, link to it. Make sure it's linked to it. If you're drawing on a news article or you're linked, or even better, just link to a news article that talks about the podcast that you're interested in. If you're using academic sources, a Harvard reference is always welcome, but it is not compulsory as long as you are clearly providing attribution to the source. And that brings me to the point about connectivity, right? Blogs are not just a textual medium. Blogs are an embedded, emergent medium. So there should be links everywhere. There should be jumping off points to anything that you mention, anything that is relevant. It should be a porcupine of spiky bits jutting out everywhere that throws me across the web looking at interesting things and that I get hopelessly lost in. Embedded media, examples. Illustrate your key points, right? Be conservative and use video clips, screenshots, and other ways of communicating and conveying what you're going to be talking about. Metadata. Make sure that you tag and categorize your posts. This is something that I will be looking for. If your posts are uncategorized, that is not a good look. It happens all the time. We're all guilty of it, but we should be working towards a really clear and effective folksonomy of our blogs. When you use an image, make sure you give appropriate credit. Make sure there is a link to the site where you got it from and that you are crediting that person. A couple of examples here. I'm not going to dive into them because we might look at them in shoots. But this is a kind of collective, I should say, blog that Susan has put together and shows you examples of posts for this subject in the past. And here's a nod to one of our DMS students, Jasmine, who has a brilliant blog and is super well organized, has excellent blog posts, and is really a great example there. Right, that is it for the blog task this week. Don't get too wrapped up in it. You can change your mind at any time. This is just the first step in the subject and getting you used to thinking about a particular niche that you might study ethnographically in the subject. If you have any questions, please make sure you are following us on Discord and send your tutor a message asking about the blog posts. Put questions in the Discord chat and we can answer that. And although we don't have tutorials in week 1, I'm super keen on meeting you all and looking forward to seeing your blog posts this session. Thanks very much.